Bless up, bless up, bless all the way up. It's your boy Change Agent Cooper. Make sure you like this channel, subscribe to this channel, and click the bell for notifications so you can be alerted when the content is coming out. I got a lot to say and I'm going to say it. I got a lot of experience, strength, and hope, and I'm going to share it. For me not to, that would be blasphemy. Today, I want to talk about selective services. Selective services is basically the draft. It's something that is required for men over a certain age that was born after a certain year. I want to say it's like 1960. You can fact check me. But anyway, selective services registration is a requirement for a person to be able to partake in any type of resource that is coming from federal dollars. Some examples are, Pell Grant. Another example is WIOA, which stands for the Workforce Innovative Opportunity Act. There's a lot of workforce development resources that can support folks. I'm talking about from training to on-the-job training contracts. And an on-the-job training contract is when you get up to 75% of a salary reimbursed for like up to 6 months. What better way to support a returning citizen than by going to an employer and saying, hey, will you give my person a shot and we're going to get you 75% of the salary reimbursed? Good God Almighty. But for a person to partake in a resource like that, they have to be registered with the Selective Services. This is one of the parts of the process with getting enrolled in NC Works. NC Works is the North Carolina version of the American Job Centers. It is a program of the American Job Center. So if you are in a state other than North Carolina, familiarize yourself with the American Job Center. But anyway, we talk about the Selective Services. Most people don't know what the Selective Services is. There's a significant amount of people that get out of prison, especially black men. They come in the office and I sit there and I ask them, I say, hey, bro, did you register with the Selective Services? I want to say like 95% of the time a person is like, nah, what's that? You dig? And even people who was in the military still don't be knowing what Selective Services was. We did a community-based event here in Asheville today, a community outreach event, and somebody walked up to our table. We was telling them about our resources. I was telling them about WIOA, and I asked this brother who is a veteran if he knew what the Selective Services was, and he didn't even know what Selective Services was because he just didn't know by the lingo, you dig? But when we broke it down talking about the draft, then it made more sense to him, but he did not know, and most people don't know. But anyway, I'm doing this video because it's a call to action to those decision makers that are passionate about workforce equity, and specific to the returning citizens, the reentry workforce, which is a untapped talent target population that is ready to come into these jobs that the baby boomers are retiring from. They ready to go into those jobs and kill the game, you dig? And for us to be able to get people skilled up, a lot of times it's going to require some type of supplemental service, some type of workforce development program. What better than WIOA? But for people to get into WIOA, they have to be registered in Selective Services because it can slow down a person's process of being able to get the resource that they need. And so this video is to do a call to action to you decision makers, because we need to figure out a way for us to start the WIOA enrollment process or intake process prior to them being released from prison. Why is this important? Well, if a person is not, if you go look them up on the Selective Services to see if they're registered and it shows that they're not registered, the process for getting a letter from them people to come to the career advisor with NC Works to be able to approve them for the resource can take up to 30 days. Do people really have 30 days to be waiting before they go to work that have been released from prison, sitting around like this here, if they want to utilize the resource? Or would they go back to their old ways of living because it's taking too long for them to be able to do the right thing and they're running into more barriers after barriers? So it's important for us to be able to get into the prisons to start this process, this intake process, and even look people up to see if they register with Selective Services. Let's start doing it at 90 days pre-release. You dig what I'm saying? Let's not wait post-release to serve them. Let's do it pre-release and look them people up. And if they're not registered with the Selective Services, maybe we can start handling that while they are on the inside. It's not hard. You feel me? You could hop on the phone, have them in the case manager's office, and we can deal with that and have that paperwork sent to the prison and put it into their red folder, into their jacket for them to take with them whenever they leave from the prison. So by the time they get out of prison, they already can go straight into being enrolled in WIOA, and they can partake into those amazing resources that are coming from the American Job Centers, those federal dollars that's hitting the Department of Commerce, that's hitting the workforce boards, that's hitting those career centers that are able to support people who have barriers to employment, people who don't have work history, people who've been unemployed over 13 weeks. That's a dislocated worker. I'm going to do a whole nother video on that, you dig? But it's important for us to be able to get this done with these people prior to them being released. And I'm going to say this, I'm going to shut up. When we look at it with a racial equity lens, I'm going to say it like this, right? Black men make up almost half the entire prison population. I'm talking black men make up almost half the entire prison population of all genders. You see what I'm saying? And with that being said, a lot of times the black men that are coming out of prison that I have encountered have less work experience, less work history. You dig? And when they get out, they're the main ones that need the help with these resources. So this is an equity issue. This ain't just a lack of knowledge issue, but this is a racial equity issue, because I guarantee you, I ain't been able to do like all the research myself because I'm boots on the ground, but I got some qualitative data for you. I bet you I can tell you this here. The white guys that we serve in our program, when they get out of prison, they don't be needing all of them workforce development resources. All they be needing is some work boots, because they done had all kind of work history in the past, operating heavy equipment, roofing, painting. I'm talking about, doing all kind of stuff, machinists. A lot of times, them white guys, the way that they kept up with their habit anyway was because they was a beast at what they trade or they skill was. So by the time that they get out, they don't be needing as much as the black men. You see what I'm saying? So this right here is an equity issue, baby. We got to figure this out, because there's a lot of black men that are getting out of prison. And when they come into my office and I say, hey, bro, what kind of work you want to do? You feel me? We can help you get a good job, but what you want to do? Most of the time, guess what they say? I'll do anything, man, and I'm a fast learner, man. I just don't want to go back to prison. You rarely hear them say, yeah, man, I hung sheetrock, or I was roofing, or I'm a carpenter, or I operate heavy equipment, or any of that kind of stuff. Rarely do you ever hear that. I was a plumber, an electrician. No. You never hear that. So this is something that we really need when we want to focus on addressing the racial inequities. You dig what I'm saying? Like, if we really want to end mass incarceration, we also have to look at the social determinant of health called economic stability. You see? And this is a tangible tactic at addressing that. So holla at your boy, Department of Justice, Department of Commerce, Department of Health and Human Services, Department of Adult Correction, whoever it is that's passionate about decreasing recidivism. Let's think about getting people engaged with the workforce development resources before they are released from the penitentiary, so that by the time they get out the penitentiary, they can step right into those career centers and partake into those resources and get to work sooner than later, get training sooner than later, earn while you learn sooner than later. You dig? I hope this makes sense. I may have been talking fast because I'm passionate. If not, rewind it and watch it again. My name is Change Agent Cooper. I'm not the answer, but I'm for daggone sure the alternative. Bless up.